The twilight is setting on the month of November. What's going on, everyone? Jeremy Hritz here. Courage pays better than fear trading. Here with a recap of everything that happened in the markets this week, and what a week that it was. And November is drawing to a close. Next week will be the final week of the month, the so-called historically most bullish month of the year, and it has been anything but that. And what a crazy week that it was. Started off in the red, heavy selling, and then we thought that there was a savior moment when NVIDIA reported earnings, and then boom, popped up. The SPX jumped 125 points. It got sold down. We had a massive move down on Thursday. And then on Friday, we had some buying that came into the markets. Now, the candle close on the SPX, we did bounce off of that 100-day simple moving average. But the way that the candle closed, there is a long upper wick. It's below the 10-day exponential moving average. It's below the 50. So the bulls are not yet out of the woods. And there is still, if you look at the charts, opportunity for this thing to come down lower. Potentially a drip down, a slow grind down into that 200. But we have to wait and see what's going to play out, because next week is the strongest week in terms of the month of November. And maybe the bulls have been saving all of their firepower for that final week. So we'll have to see. And the one thing that I want you to pay very, very close attention to this weekend to get a bead on what is going to happen next week is the crypto markets, especially Bitcoin. At the time that I'm recording this, there is a hammer being printed. Now, we'll see how it closes. We've got a few hours before this candle closes. It's a Friday here. And could it be a bottom? Potentially, possibly, but let's watch and see what Bitcoin does. Let's see if it rallies, if we get some green, if we get some strength, and then potentially that can indicate that we're going to get some follow through from the bulls heading into next week. Here's the other thing to keep in mind, though. We did not drop a full 10%, so you can't call this a correction. The SPX dipped over 5%. The Qs, I believe, did get over 8%. And I think IWM was around 9%. The VIX did fade a little bit. But things are still up in the air. So next week is going to be a pivotal week in terms of what is going to happen. And when you think about the weakness that came into the markets this past week, it really is all centered around concerns about an AI bubble, that these companies are overvalued, that there's circular profiting, that these companies are buying and selling from each other so that the revenues aren't real. You have Michael Burry, who's just pounding the drum on X, saying that this is all a sham, a scam, and he's apparently going to release some data or news on the 25th of November. So, he's adamant that he's got the smoking gun to show that this is all for naught, that it's a ruse, it's fake, it's a fraud. And one of the other concerning things, too, that stands out about NVIDIA's report is that 4 customers account for, I believe, 35 to 40% of their revenue. And those 4 customers are in that Mag 9. And so the thinking there is, if those Mag 9 companies stop buying, what happens to NVIDIA's profits? Are they going to fall off a cliff? So there's genuine concern there, but NVIDIA took a haircut this week along with a lot of other AI stocks, and it needs to, right? It was definitely getting frothy. You could even still make the argument now that it's pretty frothy, and so are some of the other AI names. But even if AI cools off, there are plenty of other stocks that could lead this next leg up. And that's in fact what we want to see happen. We want to see market breadth expand. And what do I mean by that? Well, you have a lot of other companies that are really beat up, other sectors that are really beat up. Just take a look at small caps. They are getting hosed. And that leads to the other point, and that is around the federal funds rate, the Fed rate, and whether or not the Fed is going to ease and cut in December. And that's one of the reasons why the market threw a temper tantrum this week, because you had a lot of hawkish Fed members saying that they don't see a rate cut coming. But today, you had a Fed president who typically is hawkish, who came out and said that rate cuts are on the table. And so as a result of that, that's why we saw the pop on Friday. And so let's see if we get some more of that dovishness coming in. Let's see if we get some more confidence in a rate cut in December. And that would be what the market wants to see, so that you can have these other sectors start to rally, small caps start to rally. So we want to pay close attention to that. And I believe that the Fed rate decision is December 10th. Powell will have his presser, and they're going to release the dot plot, which is the Fed rate projections over the course of the next year. So that's going to be a big day. So we want to pay attention to that. But the other thing to consider too, and I talked about this in episode 70 of Driven, is that as things are coming down, remember, we are still in a bull market, and we haven't had a true correction. We haven't had a dip like this in a long time. So there could be opportunities, if this thing turns back up, to ride this market higher into the end of the year. And I do believe if we can bounce and find footing back above the 10, back above the 50, that 7,000 is on the table for year-end 2025. But pay attention to Bitcoin this weekend. You don't have to watch the charts like crazy, but check in, see how it's doing, because that's going to be a big tell for what is to come. So I hope you guys had a phenomenal week, and we're coming close here to Thanksgiving. I can't believe next week is Thanksgiving already. It's just insane how fast time goes. I always say I want time to go agonizingly slow. I don't want it to go fast, but nobody listens. Anyway, I hope you have a tremendous weekend. I will have my Sunday setup video ready for you guys this Sunday. So make sure you check that out. We will have the Wednesday War Room back again this coming week, which will be a live stream. I'll have the Powell presser for December 10th. Lots of new content coming. I had 2 bouts of sickness, October and November back to back, that really just kind of threw me for a loop. So I've been struggling to regain my footing, but that's all coming back to me now. Shout out to all the participants in the trading psychology class, and stay tuned for some big news, for more content, a new free course I'm going to be teaching in January. Can't wait. And I appreciate you guys. Love you. Have a great weekend, and see you for the Sunday setup. Make it a great day. Honor the moment and be grateful.